From small towns to big cities and everywhere in between, we're covering the great things that are happening right now in the USA. This is Positively America with Ernie Anastas.
And hi again, everybody. I'm Ernie Anastas. Thank you so much for joining us on another journey into the world of positivity. This show is for you, and I hope it can really make a difference in your life, choosing to be a more positive person. All right, if you're watching us right now, whether you're single, you're married, a parent, a grandparent, one thing we all have in common: how we make and spend money. It's pretty basic, but sometimes it can get a little complicated. So it really helps to understand how you work with money, and the earlier in life, the better. I want to introduce you right now to someone who really devotes himself to teaching kids all about money. His organization is called Sensibility, a financial literacy nonprofit doing terrific work. Let's say hi to Roy Paul. Hi, Roy. How are you?
Thank you so much. It's good to be with you.
So good to have you on board. You know, you do such amazing work with young people. So the question right away, when is the right time to teach kids about money?
Yeah, the best time to teach kids about money is when you are trying to introduce topics to them that involve money, like an allowance. Or if you're going shopping with them and you say to them, you know, Johnny, this t-shirt costs $10. For a lot of Americans, this is an easy purchase, but for some people it's not, right? It's a great way to gauge their barometer, especially if you're trying to get them to give back and think positively.
Yeah. Roy, what if a child is listening to you but really doesn't get it? You know, it's like, okay, you're telling me about money, but I don't really understand. How do you make the point?
Yeah. And that's a topic that's comfortable for a lot of people, because a lot of kids don't get money, but a lot of adults don't get money either, right? Right. So you shouldn't knock kids for not understanding it. But the thing is to always understand that at some day they will, right? And at some point they're going to rely on a lot of the information that they were giving as a child growing up when they get older.
So we're saying the more you talk about it, the more you show them examples, right? I mean, they have to learn by example. The better opportunity we have to make an impact, right?
Absolutely. And this entire world is ran on money. So if they don't understand it today, they will at some point, and they should understand some very basic principles.
Okay, so as we begin to develop, as they get a little older and so forth, different age groups, we need to teach them about the basics, you know, checkbooks and savings, how to save some money, right? We can easily spend it, but how do you save it?
Absolutely. And the biggest lesson you can teach children is that the decisions that they make with their money has real life consequences, right? It may be you want to buy a bicycle, John, but you've got to save. And this is how much money the bike costs. And so this is how much you have to save. If you don't save the money, you don't get the bike, right? There's a consequence to not doing it. And as they get older, whether it's student loans or 401k matching from your employer, if you don't do certain things, it's going to be really difficult for you later on.
You know, a lot of young people don't understand money because everything is on a card, right? I mean, we charge everything. So now you've got the challenge of, you know, how do you teach them that this card represents dollars and cents? What do you do with that? Yeah.
And that's why it's important for everyone, not just young people, for everybody to understand their whole entire financial outlook, right? How much do you make? How much do you bring home? How much are you saving out of that money that you bring home? And what's left for the miscellaneous expenses of life, going out to restaurants or to the mall or the movies? Because once you understand the full picture, you know, wait a second, $300 on a pair of sneakers sounds like a lot of money. I don't know if I can afford that.
Right, exactly. I mean, it's real basic. So, you know, you end up doing this thing for so many young people over the years. Give me a couple of success stories, you know, some of the things that have really worked and you've said, wow, I'm so glad that I did that.
Yeah, it's so wonderful because there's a student, Mashoud, who was in our class as a high school student, and his family migrated here from Africa. And he wanted to have a career in financial services, didn't know how to do it. And so as a student in our program, he learned basic financial literacy principles. He was exposed to professionals who work in finance. And then he came to us when he enrolled in college and he studied business, and he said, you know, how do I get my foot in the door? And so we had one of our partners, Societe Generale, who is one of our sponsors. They put him in their summer analyst program when he was a college student at Baruch City University, didn't go to Yale or Harvard or fancy school, and walked his way into the office. They hired him. Fast forward several years later, he's now working in finance. He's now in Austin, Texas. He's doing wonderful work.
Love it.
And we've made a career out of him.
You have a lot of good, positive stories that you share with us. And, you know, I hope people who are watching us are saying, I'm taking some clues, I'm taking some good information down and making it a practice in my own home. Roy, always a pleasure. Keep those success stories coming, because we know that this is what you've been doing a long time. Congratulations to you and your organization. And thank you so very much for being on our show today.
Thank you.
All right, now that you know how to teach kids about money, it's time to talk about how they may spend some of it. Sounds like fun, right? Kids entertainment is our topic when Positively America comes right back. And we're back, everybody, with more of Positively America, and always sending you good news with a smile. And speaking of that, a good smile, let me tell you about my next guest. She loves kids, loves to write for them. So how about 14 award-winning books to prove it? She's a New York Times best-selling author, songwriter, screenwriter, with a new movie to talk about. Let's welcome the smiley Joan Bauer to the show. Joan, so good to see you. You're always a happy person.
Really, it's wonderful to be with you. Thank you.
You know, I know you love what you do, and it shows it. Tell me about children. Tell me about kids. What do they like to read? What have you learned over the years?
Oh, that's a great question. I think kids, it's interesting. I think kids love to read about heroes. And they love to read about seeing, big issues resolved. And I think one of the reasons for that is that I think deep down inside, and maybe all of us too, we kind of wonder, do we have a hero inside? And if we do, how does that come out? And I think kids also, particularly right now, what a complicated time we are living in.
Yeah.
I think kids also want answers. They want to know that there are adults that they can trust.
Yes.
They want to follow a straight path. And so I think they want hope. We all want hope, don't we? And so I think all of those things come together in making a really great story.
I love what you're saying. Tell me something. How do we encourage our kids, to read more? Technology is really, done a lot of things to us, all of us, including children. How do we get them to just read more?
Yeah, that's another good question. One of the ways we can do it together as a family, or just if we have friends of, we are the friends of children, we can read aloud. It is amazing how literacy can be improved in a young person's life if they are hearing stories and they're reading aloud and they're talking about it, because you hear the rhythm. Because reading is there's a rhythm, and sometimes kids who struggle with reading don't quite get the rhythm. So when that's happening within a family, that was certainly one of the drum beats in my life when I was growing up, and I'll never forget it.
Same here, and I love it because I've always read to my children as well, and it gives you a chance to animate it a little bit, and have fun with it, and they hear the excitement in your voice about reading something to them, and it's a good example. I think examples are very important. Joan, you've written so many books, you've done so many wonderful things, and what an award list you have. Now you've got a movie coming out, and this is classic. This is going to be a great movie because you won an award for this book. Tell us more about the film.
Oh, thank you. Well, the name of the book and the name of the movie is Hope Was Here. And it's interesting because it's a bit of a do-over for me, because years and years ago, I studied to be a screenwriter. And I was signed by a big talent agency in New York City. And 2 days after I signed the contract, I was in a car accident and I had to have neurosurgery. And I couldn't work for a pretty extended period of time. In the process, those opportunities for screenwriting went away. And I ended up writing children and young adults for many years.
Now you have that opportunity.
You know what? I never lost that dream, although I will say I laid it down. And then just a couple of years ago, I met the most wonderful director named Bertha Pan. She had read Hope Was Here. She loved it. She heard it. You know what it's like when somebody gets what we've done? They can hear it, they can feel it. And she ended up having a contact with a gentleman in Taiwan named Jackal Cow, and he read it, and he loved it, and he wanted to make the movie. So here we are.
There you go. So now you'll be going into production. You'll be going into production for all of this, right? Can I get a small part in this movie, do you think? What do you think?
I think absolutely. I think maybe even a bigger part because, you embody hope, Ernie. You really do.
Thank you, Joan.
That's what we need in our cast.
And you too. You've done so much. Let me ask you something. This is a program about positivity, and you know that, and that's the kind of person you are. Let me ask you quickly. What's great about America? Tell me one thing that's great about America.
Oh, what is great about America is our freedoms and the fact that I think we are so diverse. And there are opportunities for people here in America that there aren't other places. And I think that even though there's a lot of debate, we are a country where you can debate. I think that's terribly important. And I think at the core of what our country is about, it's about wanting people to rise up and be
You said it well. Okay, Hope was here, a great book and a good movie coming out soon. Joan Bauer, congratulations to you. Come back again. We love your positivity, and congratulations on all the good things. Thank you, Joan.
Thank you, Ernie. I appreciate it.
I think we need more good news today. That's why I like to watch Positively America with Ernie.
Back we are on Positively America. Hi, everybody. I'm Ernie Anastas. So tell me something. Do you work from home like so many people right now? Well, if you do, how's it going trying to balance your work and lifestyle? Well, millions of Americans are facing this challenge, and so many are looking for a little helpful guidance. All right, look who's here. My next guest is a very popular psychologist, successful author, a trained life coach, and loves working with people. I know that. Let's say hello to Dr. Ben Michaelis. Ben, good to see you here.
Great to see you, Ernie. Thanks for having me on the show.
Yeah, I see you're working from home too, aren't you?
Actually, I'm switching off. Today I'm in the office, but I switch it up. Some days I'm in the office, some days I'm from home. But this is my office actually today.
Well, you kind of do a little bit of both, and many people are doing that. Look, these days people are really faced with the challenge of working from home. Yep. And you know, there are a lot of issues that come up with that. So let's start first of all. How do you keep this thing in balance? How do you end up working from home and still having connection with some of your colleagues and creating an environment that's comfortable?
I love the way you asked that question because I think the key is recognizing, a lot of people use the term work-life balance. I don't love that term because it suggests that working is not part of life. Working is part of life. And in order to do it in a sustainable way, which as you just implied, it really is about the connections, the fabric of who we are with. Look, there's a reason that there's so many popular shows about workplaces like The Office and Brooklyn Nine-Nine and Parks and Recreation, because that's where we have meaningful connections with other people. You know, I think like the key is recognizing that the shift that we are in, we're not going back. The idea that like suddenly we're going back to something, companies that think that we're going back are not going to be going forward. Really? That's how you think? We're all, yeah, I mean, it doesn't mean that we're always going to be fully remote, but I think that some blend of look, the last 2 years have shown us a lot of things. We've had this interesting confluence between this pandemic and technology and globalization. Mm-hmm. And all of those things combined say, hey, look, there's a new and better way of doing this. And recognizing that companies that recognize that, like some of the tech companies and the companies that are on the cutting edge, they're doing this. They're recognizing the new changing reality. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, a lot of companies are doing that. They're responding to what they see out there, and it's become, let's say, more permanent, as you pointed out. Although some companies are saying, we want you back. You know, we want that camaraderie. We need you back in the office. How is that going to work out? Some people are saying, I'm not going back.
Well, look, I think that there needs to be a sense of, I do think that we know the data suggests people work together better when they're in person. There's a lot of evidence for that support that. So the idea of having some place to go and ways to connect with your team is absolutely critical, but not doing it in a sort of dogmatic way that you have to do it 5 days a week anymore, I think that is going to be the new reality, where people are going in maybe 3 days, maybe 4 days, and working remotely 1 or 2 days. I think that's the new reality.
You know, a new reality also, Ben, as you very well know, a lot of people are saying, you know what, lifestyle is important to me. I've had an opportunity to reevaluate what really is important in my life. COVID, you know, was a difficult time for a lot of people and faced a hard reality. And they're saying, I want to live someplace else for my lifestyle, and I'll find a job at home. What do you think of that?
Look, I think that this has been, there's no question that this has been a very tough time for many people, but as you know, even in tough times, there's a lot of beauty. And there's a lot, I mean, you've seen humanity, people want to help each other, and I think that it's this idea of like, wait a minute, we only have one life to live. How do I do this in the way that works best for me, for my family? And the idea that people are taking the time to think about that and making decisions based on those things, I think is absolutely a total positive for people.
Okay, quickly, tell me something. This is the show. What's great about America, Ben? What do you think?
I think that this sense, this spirit of adaptability that is part of our country, it's baked into our country, and learning that what you thought your life was going to be is not necessarily what your life is going to be, and that you have to adapt. You know, I think I mentioned over the last couple of years, I've shifted. I'm doing work within companies now. My company is called thegroup.io to help people with their quality of life.
That's what we're all doing. I really appreciate what you're saying and what you're sharing with us. Thank you so much for being on the program. Dr. Ben Michaelis, good information. Come back again and join us, okay?
Thanks so much, Ernie.
Thanks, Ben. And when we come back, Billy Floyd is asking America, what are you most grateful for? Oh, I want to hear this when Positively America comes right back.
I like to hear about good things happening, and that's why I watch Positively America. Thanks, Ernie.
Welcome back to Positively America. I'm Billy Floyd. Today, we're asking America, what are you most grateful for?
Life, and waking up with the opportunity to do it again every day. You know, that's it. I mean, life is it.
And how are you going to seize this day?
I'm about to make the most of it. I'm about to go work out, actually.
Oh, big fella over here. I love it.
God.
And what about God?
The goodness of him.
What does he do for you?
In spite of me doing wrong and going against his will, he still looks out for me.
I'm grateful for these two, my family.
And you're grateful for this guy over here?
Yep, that and her.
Oh, what a great family.
I'm grateful for my parents, because they have done everything for me.
Oh, they do everything. How about over here?
I'm grateful for my health, because without my health I cannot do anything.
For waking up this morning.
What a time to be alive. How about over here?
For being happy.
And what makes you happy?
Everything.
Jesus.
Beautiful. How about over here?
My clothes.
Oh, all the fashion. What about over here?
My grandma.
Grandma. And last but not least?
Grateful for being alive and seeing my grandkids have grandkids on this earth. I was 61 years old with 20 grandkids.
There is just so much greatness to be grateful for. We'll see you next time on Positively America. I'm Billy Floyd.
Oh, thank you, Billy. Loving the response out there on what people are grateful for. Terrific stuff. All right. Let me just take a little minute right now to talk to you about something that I think is important. How many times have you heard the expression, don't waste my time? Ever think about what that really means? Okay, let me share some of my thoughts with you. I think it's easy to waste time on a lot of things that really have no value or purpose. Let me give you an idea of what I'm talking about. Things like worrying, listening to idle gossip, being angry, and dwelling on the past. You know what I'm talking about. We've all been there. My message is to invest your time on worthwhile things. Things like caring about yourself, spending time with your family and your loved ones, or just taking time to rest and relax. Isn't that a pretty good thing to do? You know, time is precious for all of us, no matter what stage in life. And I'm asking you to just relax and find ways to invest your time. Just like money, when time is invested well, it multiplies and pays great dividends. And I hope you'll think about this and make a wise investment with your time. It's very important to do the right thing at the right time. Now, we know you have many choices when it comes to what you watch. and we're very happy that you have picked us. Really, we appreciate that. Thanks for being here on Positively America. We have many shows coming up. I hope you'll stay positive, America, and we'll see you next time.